edition of Fox Sports.
It is another glorious weather night in downtown Cincinnati, and we welcome you to Great American Ballpark. It's Game 2 of this three-game series between the New York Mets and the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds coming away one-run victors here last night on the Lance Nix home run in the 11th inning. And hi again, everybody, alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds baseball. Starting pitching continued very strong last night from Mike Leake, as it did pretty much the entire last road trip. And now Bronson Arroyo, Chris, trying to make it back-to-back impressive outings. He got his first win his last start.
Well, you have a little internal pressure when the guy before you pitches well and the guy before him pitches well. There's that internal pressure amongst the starters, and I think it's beginning to get contagious. But in the case of Bronson Arroyo, he's really turned it around based on what he did back in the days against the San Diego Padres. This is his start against the Houston Astros, his last time out. He threw the ball very well. He established his fastball. He changed speeds on his breaking ball like he normally does, but he was really able to hit his spots, and that's a key for Arroyo and every other pitcher. You've got to be able to spot your fastball up when you have to.
And really, you talk about that San Diego start. Boy, it was ugly when he gave up the 8 earned runs in just 3 innings, but then you see the line his last start getting that win.
Well, the left-handers really hurt him in that ball game against San Diego. There aren't nearly as many left-handers in the lineup for the Astros. There are plenty of left-handers in the lineup for the New York Mets. They've got 3 switch hitters up and down the first 3 spots in the lineup. So not an easy task for Arroyo, but remember what he did last time he faced the Mets? An awfully good game. I think he went a shutout, if I'm not correct about that.
You're exactly right. They got him on that great roll to finish the year. Meanwhile, for John Maine, 2 years pretty much injury plagued for this young man. He's had a bad shoulder after coming off a brilliant 2007 season. He's coming off his best start of the year, his last outing. So Arroyo against Maine in Game 2 of this series here tonight. The Reds have won 5 of their last 7. And a big reason for last night's victory, the work out of the bullpen. A relief indeed for Dusty Baker. Presented in beautiful high definition. You even see Chris Welsh in high def, courtesy of our friends from H.H. Craig. Well, you couldn't ask for a better night tonight in downtown Cincinnati. And for more on our weather, let's check in with Tim Hedrick.
Let's see if we can't take another one from the Metropolitans. On a great night, clear skies. There will be no clouds tonight. There will be no rain tonight. 73 first pitch. Will be down to about 65 degrees by the time you go home. Enjoy the game, everybody.
Well, Tim looking good in that Reds hat and that Reds jacket.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he's going to wear that jacket all summer long. It's going to get a little toasty towards July or August. Of course, who am I to tell Tim Hedrick what the weather's going to be like?
You know what we'll do? We'll send him over. Like a Reds golf shirt from out of the team shop, something like that. And maybe talk about the bullpen. Now break some of this down, Chris. On the road trip, because the starters pitched better, they were asked to pitch less.
Well, exactly right. And then last night, you can see what happened. This is the clutch performance that they had in the last 6 games versus last night. Earned run average on the road, 5.5. Last night, they went 5 innings. It's a short sample size, yes. But when you turn over your bullpen, you leave some things to chance. It was no chance last night. Lincoln, Massett, Cordero, and Arthur Rhodes put him down last night. And if Dusty Baker can continue to call on his bullpen and they perform like that, they're going to stay in ball games and they're going to continue to win games in their last at bat. Cardiac kids. Let's see it again tonight.
13 wins on the year. 8 of the 13 have come in their final at bat. So Bronson Arroyo will take the mound when we come back. First pitch around the corner. By Ford F-Series trucks, the best-selling trucks, 33 straight years. By Just for Men, for mustache and beard, keep your edge. And by Skyline Chili, you know it's Skyline time when you get that craving for a Skyline 3-way or cheese Tony's. Back in beautiful Cincinnati on a beautiful weather night. Reds trying to make it back-to-back wins over the New York Mets. Jerry Manuel starting lineup, the same group he ran out there last night. Pagan, Castillo, and Reyes at the top. Day, Wright, and Davis in the middle. A lot of third of Jeff Francoeur, Rod Barajas, and on the mound, right-hander John Maine. Starting it for the Reds, right-hander Bronson Arroyo. 1 up, 2 down, an ERA of up over 6 so far.
And Bronson Arroyo would like to continue what he started his last time out against the Houston Astros. Had a pretty good game down there in Houston, but he's got to establish a fastball, much like he did down in Minute Maid Park. Of course, he'll always change speeds on his curveball and arm angles, and, of course, much better against right-handers with that curveball than lefties. But the Mets, they feature a lot of switch hitters and lefties in this lineup.
First pitch, ball 1 high to Angel Pagan in this game underway. So the opponent's batting average only .248 against Arroyo. He's allowed to hit an inning. Trying to bunt his way on his Pagan, and you can't roll it out there any better than that. He falls down, and Brandon Phillips throws back to the bag. But Pagan able to get to his feet and dive back to the bag with a bunt single that goes into right field.
Kind of a gutsy play right there, because if you pop it up, you feel like, man, I just wasted an at bat. But he practices that. Pagan does, and he was thinking about two right there, and I think he just put the brakes on, realizing that Brandon Phillips was going to get to that ball too quickly. You know, the last player I saw do a play like that is Rafael Furcal. He would do that mostly over the third baseman's head. Very interesting twist to a drag bunt.
So a leadoff bunt single by Pagan, and here's Luis Castillo. A lot of options now for Jerry Manuel. Castillo handles the bat very well, and a breaking ball is in there, a strike. Castillo at .270, 7 runs batted in. He can bunt well. You can hit and run with Castillo. Lots of options. Pagan over at first, 2 stolen bases in 3 attempts on the season. The Mets have been very good in terms of their success rate when they employ the running game. They've stolen 14 consecutive bases going back to April the 19th, and overall they've only been thrown out 4 times in 27 chances on the year. That's a second best ratio in baseball, and there's that hit and run, and that's into right field. And easily on to third goes Pagan. Take a look at the Reds defensively, presented by Ford. It'll be Stubbs in center, flanked by Nixon. Bruce. Jay back in the lineup tonight. Roland Cabrera, Phillips, and Votto along the infield, and the battery of Arroyo and Ryan Hanigan.
Now, Bronson Arroyo's got to be thinking, what the heck is going on? They haven't hit the ball hard yet. I've got first and third and nobody out. And now the meat of the order coming up. 8 innings to start like that.
Jose Reyes, the batter. Hitting at .226 without a home run. Has 7 runs batted in. He knocked in a run with a double here last night. And that one is by Cabrera into center field, a hit. Scoring from third, Pagan. 3 batters, 3 hits, and the Mets lead 1-0.
They're up there attacking the ball early. These left-handers are giving Arroyo fits. They've had some good fortune, yes. Unless Arroyo's able to knock that ball down, it just stays too low to the ground to be able to do that. Goes on his arm side, which is the third base side of the pitcher's mound. You try to get your shin out of the way, but that ends up being a base hit and a run in. I mean, I don't think Arroyo's even loose yet. I mean, I know, you know, physically he's loose. He warmed up in the pen. But as far as getting into the flow of the game, when this happens to you this quick, it takes you out of sorts.
He's only thrown 5 pitches, 2 in the at-bat to Pagan, 2 in the at-bat to Castillo, and Reyes, the first pitch swinger to knock in a run. It's strike 1 to Jason Bay. Arroyo has been fabulous in his career against the Mets. A 6-2 record, an ERA at 3.3, and it's worth noting, to tell you how good he's been, that 3.3 ERA includes a game going back to the 2000 year when he lasted 2 2/3 innings and gave up 9 earned runs. So ever since then, it's been 3 runs or less, except for 1 start in April of last season. And Chris brought up earlier his final start against the Mets last year, a complete game 4-hit shutout. So there you get a look at his last 8 starts against the New York Mets. Those are mighty impressive numbers. 3 complete games. Jason Bay, 1 home run, 8 runs batted in, has 2 on with nobody out, and there's a strike on the inside corner to even things at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Mets have had a woeful time when facing right-handers so far this year. the lowest batting average among all teams in the National League. See, the Reds are 5th on that list. 3-2. Broken bat roller down to third. They throw to second for one. Relay throw is not in time. So advancing on to third is Castillo. Bay safe at first. Reyes wiped off the board at second. 1 out in the inning.
Well, nice turn at the halfway point by Brandon Phillips. I mean, Roland does everything he can to get him the ball, and Reyes is all over Phillips as he slides right over the second base bag and upended the Red second baseman, but you do the best you can. That ball just not hit hard enough.
Well, New York with a 1-0 lead. Runners on the corners, 1 out in the inning, and here's David Wright.
Now you're thinking damage control right here if you're Bronson Arroyo. You're thinking, all right, you know what? If I give him a fly ball, he's a fly ball hitter. That's one thing. But I'm not letting him get a base hit right here and keep this inning alive. And he's done a pretty good job in his career against David Wright. In fact, Wright is only hitting 182 in 22 at bats against Arroyo. So they faced each other, and Wright is yet really to figure him out.
Up and in, ball 1 to David Wright. Crowd still rolling in, and many of them barely in their seats before the Mets jumped in front in this one. 1-0. 5 pitches thrown by Arroyo, 3 hits and a run. And there's a check swing, fouled out of play. 1-1 to David Wright. David on a pretty good roll right now. Has 9 RBIs in his last 6 games. The guy this season who is striking out a lot, he's also walking a lot. One ball, one strike on David Wright. A beautiful breaking ball drops in there. Strike 2 from Arroyo.
You know, some guys just don't pick up the ball right against certain pitchers. It looks like David Wright, who loves the inside pitch, coils and is ready to pull the trigger, just didn't do it. Maybe just didn't pick it up.
Sharp ground ball. They'll have to hurry. Wright runs well, and it's a double play to end the inning. So that is damage control indeed. After 3 batters, the Mets had a run home with 2 on and nobody out, and don't score again. 4 days from now is right-hander John Maine.
Well, John Maine, not an overpowering fastball at all. In fact, his velocity is somewhat modest. He'll top out 87, 88 miles an hour, but he's got a smooth delivery, kind of a long arm motion, and a lot of movement on the ball. It really kind of tails right into right-handers. When he gets lefties up there, he'll off-speed those guys with changeups.
Drew Stubbs led off the game last night with a home run. You see the numbers on Maine. Really had one very bad start, his second outing of the year against Colorado, and that was at mile-high altitude. He allowed 8 earned runs in 3 innings. Went 5 innings his next start against St. Louis, allowed 3 runs. His last outing against the Dodgers, his first victory of the year. 6 innings, allowed 4 hits and 2 earned runs. Fly ball into right field, and not a repeat performance at a leadoff home run last night from Stubbs. The Mets on defense brought to you by Ford. Same 8 we saw last night. Bay, Pagan, Francoeur in the outfield. Wright and Davis on the corners. Jose Reyes, Luis Castillo up the middle. And Rod Barajas hanging aside. If you're wondering, the last time the Reds had a leadoff home run in back-to-back games, how about the name Tracy Jones? There's a drive by Phillips, way back into left field, and that is a fair ball home run to tie it up. Directly down the left field line and just snuck in there.
Well, you don't have to wait very long to get a fastball from John Maine, because he's at, for all those guys in this Reds lineup that are first pitch fastball hitters, they're going to get it. And that ball looked like it was hooking, and just hit the foul pole. And just like that, the Reds tie it up.
So the 3 home runs, now 10 batted in for Brandon Phillips. And here's Joey Votto. He takes down low, a ball and a strike.
I think he wanted it outside. You see Barajas setting up outside, and that ball just coming right back over the inner third.
John Maine grew up in Fredericksburg, Virginia, still makes his home there. Was a 6th-round draft choice by the Baltimore Orioles back in 2002. And then 4 years later, after twice being named the Orioles Jim Palmer Award winner for their minor league pitcher of the year, he was traded to the Mets along with Jorge Julio in the Chris Benson deal. There's a check swing and a strike. 3-2 to Votto. Went 6-5 in 06. As a part of their rotation, was very good down the stretch. In fact, won an elimination game in the league championship series against St. Louis that year. Votto out on strikes. So they were very excited about Maine to return the following year, won 15 games with an ERA in the 3s. But really over the last 2 years, it has been a struggle, A, getting people out, and B, staying healthy. He has been on the disabled list 4 times with a bad shoulder.
Well, he had only 81 innings pitched last year, and then in the year 2008, only won 140 innings in 25 starts.
Strike 1 to Scott Rowland.
Interesting numbers there, because you'd think that they would be exact opposite of what they are as far as opponent batting average against John Maine. You know, he gets, this year anyway, he gets left-handers out much better. That's because his changeup is a lot better than his slider. Use the slider on right-handers and changeups on the left-handers. Get that pitch going away from him. That's a pretty good slider.
Yep. Ball and gone swinging. A couple of strikeouts in the inning for Maine, but Brandon Phillips ties the game with a solo home run. We go to the second, even at 1. Milwaukee, really good in 40 games started thereafter. And hoping that after the shellacking he took against San Diego 2 outings ago, that victorious start against Houston on Thursday will get him on another positive run.
I mean, he put on some pretty good runs, 22 games, 40 games, and now you just hope that he's able to kind of get it together. If you can take, and I know you're not allowed to do this, but if you can take the worst games away, say 2 games a year from Bronson Arroyo, his earned run average would be among the league leaders every year.
Because when they're ugly, the 1 or 2 times, man, are they ugly.
Oh, man. He did some pretty good damage control in the first inning there, because that looked like the kind of inning that could really get away from him. I mean, you know, you have good fortune if you're the batters. Balls are finding the holes. You're bunting for almost a double. Little base hit up the middle. He kept living with that ground ball. Finally got a double play.
The rookie Ike Davis, the New York first baseman, leads things off here in the second inning of a 1-1 game to be followed by Jeff Francoeur and then Rod Barajas. Davis began the year at AAA. They called him up a couple of weeks into the season. And he has won that everyday first base job, their #1 pick 2 years ago out of Arizona State University. 3-2 on Ike Davis. And if you weren't with us last night, Ike, a teammate of Reds right-hander Mike Leake at Arizona State, and his father Ron pitched for better than a decade in the major leagues. Guy's a pretty good looking hitter.
Yeah, nice approach right there. 3-2 pitch, didn't try to do too much to it. Kept his hands inside the ball. You know, they're going to test him because he holds his hands very low. Look how low he gets his hands right there. And they're going to test him to see if they can't go up the ladder inside on him to see if he can hit the heater. That is not Bronson Arroyo's strength. He tries to throw a little changeup away, 82 miles an hour. He just got it center of the plate.
Fourth hit of the game for the Mets against Arroyo. And there is ball one up and in to right fielder Jeff Francoeur, the former Atlanta Brave, at .264. 4 home runs and 14 runs batted in. It's hard to believe. You think back just, what, 3-4 years ago, and all the huge expectations for Francoeur in Atlanta after the way he burst on the scene initially with the Braves. I mean, you thought this guy was going to be an Atlanta Brave cornerstone for longer than a decade. But as the ensuing years moved on, the production just wasn't there. And the Braves basically gave up on Francoeur, trading him to the Mets last year. I mean, 2007's the year he really did damage. And then slipping a bit in 08. Not a bad run with it once the trade was made to the Mets last year.
You like Francoeur because he plays hard. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody that plays harder day in than day and day out than Jeff Francoeur. Running into walls, he takes great pride in his defense. But the one knock on him is that he's never really been able to define the strike zone. This year, however, he's taken a lot more walks than he has in the past. In fact, he only has 1 more strikeout than bases on balls. For him, that is a major accomplishment. Because when he broke on the scene, Tom, and you're talking about back in 2005 and 2006, I mean, he was the hardest guy in baseball to walk. I mean, you could bounce a ball up there and he was hacking at it.
Francoeur's still just 26 years old. And general manager of the Mets, Omar Minaya, boy, he has taken a beating in the media over the last couple of years. But that was by far and away Manaya's best deal, acquiring Francoeur last year. All it took was Ryan Church. And that, of course, coupled with the Braves' desire to just get rid of a hometown kid that they had gone south on.
Buy low.
Still 2-2 on Francoeur after a leadoff single here in the second by Ike Davis, and he strikes him out with a fastball up and away.
Bronson Arroyo just simply knows how to pitch, and when he's able to spot his fastball like that, a little bit of a cutter, starts outer third and then really moves away from him right there. That's just a good looking pitch.
So one gone in the inning, and here's a number 8 hitter, catcher Rod Barajas. 230 batter, the 6 home runs, the most among all catchers in the National League. Barajas hit 3 of them over the weekend against Philadelphia. He has 13 knocked in. Rod had a big chance in the game last night in a 2-2 tie. In the 7th inning, with a runner at third and 1 out, Mike Lincoln ran a fastball in on him, and Barajas popped it up to Brandon Phillips, and Arthur Rhodes came on to get out of the inning. Much like that pitch just right there. 0-2 now on Barajas.
A little bit late on that. Barajas is one of those batters that uses the no stride approach to hitting. Doesn't lift his leg up. Some guys have a big high leg kick. Some guys will just turn their front foot a little bit. That's all he does. He just kind of gets up on his toe and gets it right back down there. But that time did not get his foot down quick enough.
Breaking ball got him swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts for Arroyo, and now the pitcher John Maine will come up with a runner at first and 2 men out. And don't forget, you can come on down to Tina's on Friday at 6 p.m. Your chance to test your Reds knowledge and win some great prizes. Plus, you never know, you might end up on Reds Live after the game on Fox Sports Ohio. So be a part of it all the fun at Tina's. You'll be over there before the game, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll get you some of that Tina's chili.
Bring it on back.
Heat you up a little bit. You could usually get fired up now and then.
Just every now and again. 0-1 to Maine. And it looked like he got a piece of Arroyo's glove, perhaps, to slow it down for Cabrera. And that'll end the inning. A leadoff single. Davis never moves from first base. Still a 1-1 game. Your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers.
Now, that sign can be hit. The one in right center field was hit during batting practice by Ike Davis of the Mets.
We know
square.
that one in left center field is more than reachable, right? Probably more so than right center, do you think?
I don't know. I'd say they look about the same distance.
You're right, but for some reason we just don't see that many.
No.
Out by the tall stacks out there.
Because Albert pulls the ball.
Yeah, there's an overwhelming more number of right-handed batters, obviously. So far more frequency. The home runs travel into left and left center than right and right center. Here's a guy
got a chance, yeah,
that would have a shot out in right center. It's Jay Bruce. 1 ball and 1 strike. Jay back in the lineup.
That's a pitch right there. You've got to really guard against chasing for John Maine. You know, I mentioned about it in the scouting report. He's got a kind of a long arm delivery, and the ball's very deceptive. And it really tails off on you. You got to make him get the ball down. You know, he reminds me a little bit of his delivery of Kip Wells. Wells threw a lot harder, but same type of delivery, same body build. He's 6'4", about 190.
The ability to retire left-handed batters is nothing new for Maine. Lefties only hit 159 against him last year. That was 6th best among all starters in the league. Maine got away with ball 4 right there. So it's 3-2 to Jay Bruce leading off the second inning, and there is ball 4. So Chris, how you doing today? Everything okay?
Everything's just dandy.
Good.
Why do you ask?
I'm just curious. Make sure, most people at home, they like to know, how you're doing, how Jim's doing. Jeff,
how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
How was your dinner?
Very, very good. Cannot thank our friends from JTM enough, and thanking you and Jesse Jackson for pulling it all together, bringing it all together.
Jesse got it together. I just kind of planted the seed.
Well, then, Jesse, thank you. I mean, it was wonderful. We were treated before the ball game underneath the walkway beyond the left center field wall between Great American Ballpark and U.S. Bank Arena. Here's a pop-up to Castillo off the bat of Orlando Cabrera, 1 away in the inning. I mean, our entire crew was there.
We were mowing it down.
Had burgers, had beans, had au gratin potatoes, macaroni and cheese. There's Chris, just getting ready to do major damage. You didn't want him to catch you eating on camera.
Look at you putting some vegetables on your hamburger. Very nice.
Sitting on the corner. I've been there a time or two before.
Can't believe I didn't get any on me.
Well, they just can't see you right now. But what a great time had by all the folks that work around the ballpark, a lot of them in security, Cincinnati policemen working here tonight. All came down and were able to dig in a little bit. So, Chris, thanks again. And thanks to the folks at JTM.
Yeah, let's thank our good sponsor, JTM, for that. In fact, Michael Pickett, I think, who's in charge of, I guess, food production and formulas. He's going to come up and visit with us for a little bit sometime later in the game.
Beautiful.
Maybe he could give you some grilling tips.
Believe me, I will never refuse a tip about grilling. Lance Nix able to grill up a home run to end the game last night in the bottom of the 11th inning. And a 3-2 Reds win, the first time in Lance Nix's major league career. He ended a game with a home run. And boy, he was excited. You were talking about that before we went on the air tonight.
You know, he was described his feeling last night when he was mobbed at home plate. You know, that pile that seems to just jump up and down. He had 3 words for it. It's the best.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
1-1 to count on Lance Nix. Fastball up and away.
You know, and the biggest temptation for Lance Nix now is to go up there and try to hit a home run every time. And that's the problem, is that you've got to make sure that you temper yourself. You take what the pitcher will give you. And that way, that ball that is really tailing away by John Maine, you know, it's going to be hard to pull unless you get one on the inner part of the plate.
2-1 on Nix. Runner goes and then stops. Swung on and missed. Well, you talk about witnessing history. Of course, the Reds are the oldest franchise in all of professional baseball. And you think about all the tens of thousands of games in franchise history. Last night, one of only 3 times ever where the Reds had a batter let off a game with a home run and a batter ended the game with a home run. 2-2 to Nix. Chased the pitch up and away. Foul tipped it into the middle of Barajas. 3 strikeouts for Maine. Of course, Drew Stubbs led off the game with the first leadoff home run by a Red this year. And then Lance Nix in the 11th. Nearly 3.5 hours later. The Reds have done it twice in the last 4 years. May 28th against Arizona in 2006. But man, you got to really turn back the clock to find out when it happened prior to that. Got to go all the way back, in fact, to October the 2nd of 1892. How about that? Bug Holiday.
What a great name.
And Pete Browning ended it. You really like that nickname, don't you?
I do.
How about if I call you Bug Welsh?
That's all right.
1-1 to Ryan Hennigan.
I think it would be better.
Welcome to Reds baseball, along with Bug Welsh.
I don't think it flows quite like Bug Brenneman. Now we're talking.
Count me in.
I was talking about your dad.
Count him in. Breaking ball the way to Ryan Hennigan, 2-1. You know, Bug Holiday actually is the man who hit the first home run in the history of the Cincinnati Reds.
Now that's a trivia question that we just answered.
I mean, Mark Wagner's all over.
That's pretty good.
The very first home run on April the 19th, 1890.
I would imagine that would be an inside the Parker.
Oh, I certainly believe that would be true, yes.
Because all they had was, I'm not even sure if they roped it off in the outfield back then.
Well, I would think a fellow who has a nickname Bug could probably run pretty well. Two and two to Ryan Hennigan. Runner at first with 2 away. And it's shot into right field, a base hit. Francoeur, a very strong arm, and Bruce going to test it. Here comes a throw into third, and it gets by and into the dugout. And the aggressive base running by Jay Bruce forces an error and leads to a run to go ahead 2-1. Hennigan will end up at third. Boy, that is just outstanding. Aggressive base running and forcing the opposition to make a play.
Well, you know, you take it right to him. It may not have been the smartest play if you're going to get thrown out right here. Remember, Francoeur's got a great arm, and he loves to show it off. But David Wright kind of short arms that ball. And quite frankly, that pitcher's not... He's too close to third base. You've got to be back by the fence to prevent that ball from doing what it did, which is go in the only opening there in front of that Mets dugout, right where the stairs are, and an error, and the Reds push one across, and how about that? That's with the pitcher coming up.
Well, now Arroyo ahead in the count 1-0. Hannigan goes all the way to third, and that one lined into short right, and Francoeur able to get it. And that'll end the inning. But the Reds force a defensive miscue and take a 2-1 lead as we go to the third. improve, but I'm not even close to where I want to be. And boy, the sky is the limit when you're blessed with the talent of Jay Bruce. And he's been on a pretty good roll here, Chris Welsh, for the better part of 2 weeks.
He's been on a good roll, you know. And what you're going to find with a rookie, any rookie, Jay Bruce, Drew Stubbs, anybody else who's got talent but a very young player, he's going to get hot and he's going to get cold and he's going to adjust, and the league is going to adjust to him, and he's going to have to adjust again. And, you know, he hasn't reached his potential at all. And really, for him, potential is just getting the consistency of playing like he is right now, playing it for more parts of the year.
Angel Pagan to lead things off against Arroyo. He had a bunt single over the head of Joey Votto and scored the first run of the game.
All right, now we're talking about how much fun we had, the good eats we had, the JTM chuck wagon, the grill master himself. Set it up today, Michael Pickett. Michael Pickett from JTM joining us in the booth right now. First, Michael, thanks for being a Red sponsor, and thanks for bringing the chuck wagon around today. That was great.
Thanks. Yeah, that's what we do, and we enjoy it.
Well, you guys have, Michael, been at it 30 years now. Celebrate. Happy birthday to JTM. I mean, the Moss family starts the company 30 years ago. Who would have ever imagined? It really is a great American business story to think of where they started with what? Moss Meats, right?
Moss Meats in Delhi.
And going back 30 years, and now to think of all of the business ventures you guys have been a part of. Nice play by Votto there to feed Arroyo. I'm not even sure the Moss family could have envisioned where you guys would be 30 years later, could they?
No, I don't think so.
When you look at some of the things you guys have going on right now, I know you started to venture into feed the military, right? Tell us about that a little bit.
Military around the world. We ship food to Afghanistan. We ship food Hawaii.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and the plant recently renovated, expanded. I mean, I was out there earlier this spring. I can't believe that's a complex out there.
It is. It is.
How long have you been with the company, Michael?
Almost 3 years.
Oh, so you're getting on board while the getting's good.
There you go.
And you're the guy that comes up with the formulas to how the food tastes. How'd you get into that business?
One day I met a man named Tony Moss, and he said, "Come work for me." The rest, now I sit here today.
I met Tony Moss, too. He didn't say that to me. He said, "Hey, throw me some more batting practice." Because when I first met Tony, it was down at the Reds Fantasy Camp.
Yeah, sure.
Now, the Moss family, they're not only great business people here in the greater Cincinnati area, but all the great work they've done for so many schools locally, so many different charity groups locally. It really is. It is one of the great stories of a family-owned business. And with taking a chance and taking a number of risks and what it all can turn out to be, and along the way helping so many other people.
Absolutely true.
Well, Michael, thanks so much for coming up tonight. We really appreciate it. Thanks for everything today. Everybody really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
How about those fire and ice pickles, Michael? Did you like those?
I can't wait to have some more when I get home tonight.
All right. We got to do a little talking off the air about that now. See if we can get JTM to make those instead of Chris Welsh by himself.
Come back to Arroyo, and they're 2 away in the inning.
Thanks a lot for visiting up here, Michael. Appreciate it very much.
And thanks for your sponsorship of Reds Baseball. Tell everybody we said hello. A couple nice plays defensively here for the Reds. Votto and now Arroyo.
I'll tell you, Arroyo's keeping the ball on the ground, isn't he? I mean, he's getting a lot of ground balls. For a guy that is not known to be that much of a prolific ground ball pitcher, the Mets are beating it into the dirt.
And 1 on Jose Reyes. Easier time of it this time for Votto. Arroyo is there in plenty of time. And a 1-2-3 third for Arroyo, who's retired the last 6. Here, check concession stands around the ballpark for the Kroger meal deal. You get a full-size adult hot dog, a 16-ounce Coke, and during this homestand, a Dove chocolate peanut butter bar, and all for just $7. So don't let somebody tell you that you got to spend, well over $100 on concessions and that kind of thing when you come down to a big league game in Cincinnati. It's just not true. Reds lead 2-1, bottom of the third inning. Bruce Stubbs, Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto against John Maine. Stubbs flied out to right his first time up. There's a lazy pop fly to Jeff Francoeur in right. And Maine is taking care of Drew Stubbs to begin the third.
I'll tell you, John Maine, kind of interesting. He's the type of pitcher that really exemplifies what sneaky fast is all about. I'm watching the radar gun. I'm seeing 88, 89, 90 miles an hour. And sometimes you'll go out there and you see a pitcher throw 95 getting whacked all over the ballpark. And this guy just seems to be firing it up there. Very comfortable speed. Not a big breaking ball, nothing really to him except that ball really gets on you in a hurry, and it's very difficult to pick up either pick up the action coming out of his hand or being able to give the depth perception to see how fast that ball is really coming in there.
Brandon Phillips homered off the fair pole down the left field line in the first inning. This one in the air. Left center field, giving chase is Bay, and that ball is up against the wall. This will be 3 bases, maybe for Phillips. Nope, going to slam on the brakes. Pagan played that ball very well, backing up from center. So Phillips with a double, following the home run back in the first inning.
Well, Brandon hits it a long way, no doubt. Another high fastball right there. And he comes out of the box. He's wondering if that baby's going to be out of here or not. Both outfielders converge. Bay and Pagan go out there, and the ball goes about midway off the wall in left center field.
Gaudy numbers for Brandon Phillips against John Maine. And getting even fatter here tonight. And now Joey Votto, who struck out swinging in the first inning. Not sure Votto liked that call. Tim Welke calls the balls and strikes tonight. Sam Holbrook at first. Tim's brother Bill is at second, and Mike DeMuro, the umpire, at third.
Well, so far in 2 games, this is a strike calling crew.
One ball and 2 strikes to Votto. Reds trying to add to a 1-run lead here in the bottom of the third inning with Phillips at second base. And a fly ball is in the air, left center field. Bay backing up and has room in front of the wall. And they're 2 away in the inning. Oh, and the Reds get it done with an RBI. Brandon Phillips has done that tonight. That means another $25 from Shakely for the Reds Community Fund. Shakely. It's done. Days getting longer and longer as we get deeper into the spring and even closer into the summer. There's still lots of sunshine left, looking out across the mighty Ohio into the rolling hills, your neck of the woods, the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Yeah, just looking across that river into Kentucky this evening and this afternoon when we got here, Tom, boy, a lot of stuff, a lot of debris floating up and down, not up the river, floating down the river right now, and very fast, too. A lot of rain last night, over the last few days.
The river's so high right now. I mean, it's the highest I can remember in quite some time. And that's where a lot of that's coming from, as it creeps up into areas that, otherwise would not be in the water, under the water. 1-2 on Scott Rowland. The boy's beautiful looking across there. This time of night.
I thought I saw a refrigerator going by there not too long ago. I was missing one off the porch this morning.
Boy, you're cold. That was Chris Welsh again. Just to repeat, I take a beating from many over in the Commonwealth. That's twice this year. None for Brenneman, 2 for Welsh. Just remember, one of your own.
You're welcome over anytime.
I love going over. 2-2 the count on Scott Rowland. Fastball up and away.
Now, he got rolling last time on a real nice slider. Maybe the best one he's thrown of the night. Had him 0-2 and then dropped a little slider on the lower outside part of the plate. Would not be surprised if he tries the same thing right here.
Two to Rowland. Let's see if indeed that's what Maine does. And he missed with a fastball. It looked like Chris down and away for ball 4.
It was. He went to go down and away from him and just missed right there. Second walk of the night for John Maine. And what makes this significant is that you bring up a left-hander now. Of course, he has in his career, as you mentioned, handled left-handers better, but still, you got a lefty with some pop in there right now in Jay Bruce.
Well, you can sense the frustration just looking at Maine as he tries to get it together.
Well, I guarantee you, in the scouting meeting they have with the pitchers and catchers at the beginning of the series, the number one thing a team say when they come into this ballpark is do not walk batters. Because here, fly balls can hurt you. Walks and fly balls, bad combination.
Jay Bruce walked and scored to break the 1-1 tie an inning ago.
I mean, you can pitch around guys in Citi Field in New York. It's such a big place.
One to 0 to Jay with 2 on and 2 out. And he was tardy on that fastball. One to count. Swung through another fastball, this time up in the strike zone, and Maine ahead of Jay Bruce, 1-2. Just threw 3 fastballs in a row right by Bruce, and that'll end the inning. A hit, 2 men left. We play third where the Reds lead the Mets 2-1. We begin the fourth inning. Jason Bay to lead things off quickly down a strike against Bronson Arroyo. The Reds are in front 2-1. The Mets had 3 hits and a run after the first 5 pitches of the game. A bunt single by Pagan, a hit and run single by Castillo. And then Jose Reyes made it 1-0 with a first pitch single into center to drive in Pagan. But then with runners at first and second, a fielder's choice out at second. And then Arroyo got David Wright to bounce into a double play to end the first inning and giving up just the 1 run. Arroyo allowed a single to White Davis to open the second inning and has since retired 6 in a row. 1-2 to Bay. And now to TM even. Bay to be followed by David Wright and Ike Davis. Every team in baseball in action tonight after a very limited schedule, especially in the National League last night. They a fly ball into right will back up Jay Bruce, and he has room in front of the wall, 1 away. 7 straight retired by Arroyo. All right, our AT&T trivia question tonight, rethink possible. Who was the last Mets player to hit for the cycle in a game? Now, your longtime broadcast partner, George Graham, he loved the cycle, you were telling.
So much, I think he bought a bike shop.
It was stale then, it's stale now.
I'm not a big cycle fan.
You're not?
No.
Okay. So you don't know who it is?
George, you know, it is a statistical anomaly. People really, believe me, if somebody does it, it's going to be headlines in the newspaper.
Oh, yeah.
More so than if they were to hit 3 home runs. But I have no idea, and quite frankly, I'd rather take one of those.
Way back to tie the game.
Man, a double-decker.
Yeah, midway up into the second deck for David Wright. That's his 6th home run of the year, and we're tied at 2. Mercy, was that ball hit? Even that one flies out at Citi Field.
You're right about that. We have the Fox tracks on the pitch. Unfortunately, do not have the Fox tracks on the trajectory of this missile. That's his first home run off of Bronson Arroyo in his career. He came into this ball game batting down around 180 off of Bronson, and he did not miss it.
So we begin anew here in the 4th inning, tied at 2, and here's Ike Davis. 1 in, 1 out. And ball 1 to Davis. He singled into center field his first time up. But if he had to take a stab at it,
it would have to be, I would say it would have to be somebody fast.
Say Reyes.
Reyes. Somebody like that.
Okay. Well, are you going to guess, or are you saying just somebody
Mookie
like
Wilson.
that? Ground ball down to Joey Votto. 2 away in the inning. That's your guess? Mookie Wilson?
I guess it's such a bad guess it doesn't even qualify to go on the board.
I'm not going to say anything's a bad guess.
Is it somebody?
I mean, a lot of times I think it's a bad guess, and all of a sudden that ends up being the answer. So
well,
I don't know.
All right. So, you know, what normally we do with the trivia questions, we have some kind of connection with the team that's in town, or a coach, or a former player who may be here as a general manager, something like that. So let's say it's
could it be a trick question? Had the Mets ever had a player hit for the cycle? I'm just planting the seed.
Well, you know, you're going to sour me on our trivia questions. I'm easy enough to trick. We don't have to go into the trick questions to do that.
Swung on and fouled out of play.
I really think we ought to have a follow-up on our AT&T trivia question in the game. You could also...
A follow-up?
Yeah, follow-up on the Fox Sports Net website, foxsportsohio.com website. Get on there, enter your answer, text it in. Let's get some, I need some help.
Bit off the end of the bat by Frank Cooler, and this will end the inning. But a game-tying long one, and it was a long one off the bat of David Wright, who, by the way, he may not be a bad guess either, David Wright.
He did it against the Reds, and that's why it's so appropriate tonight.
Well, the amazing thing is you were probably there. So
now, if he had hit 3 home runs that night, I could have told you that.
Really?
Probably.
So, in other words, if I were to ask you, who's the last team against the Reds to have a player hit 3 home runs in a game, then by gosh, you would be ready just to nail that.
Well, if that team happened to be visiting in town, I could probably tell you.
Whittle it down a little.
Yeah, a little bit.
2-1 the count on Orlando Cabrera. Bouncing ball to the shortstop, Reyes.
Well, interesting because Bronson Arroyo ended his last part of the 4th inning on a fly ball to left field. The first fly ball out by the Mets, and that ground ball off of the bat of Orlando Cabrera was the first ground ball out that John Maine has thrown. 2 guys going about it in completely opposite ways, but both with very similar results.
New York are running the first. The Reds are running the first. Reds got a 2-1 lead by scoring a single run in the second, and the David Wright home run ties it here in the 4th. 1-1 to Lance Nix. So 2 runs, 5 hits for New York against Bronson Arroyo. They've left 2. They committed the game's only error, which allowed the Reds to take that 2-1 lead in the second. The Reds 2 runs, 3 hits, and they've left 3 men on base. Now, I know you remember the last player to hit 4 home runs in a game against the Reds.
I wasn't there, but I know who it was.
Okay. I believe you. 1-2 to count on Nix. And now the count even at 2-2.
Those are the kind of things you can look up.
Who did you say it was?
Hard hitting.
You got it.
Mark Whitten.
Yeah. That's when he had that monster doubleheader, right?
I don't know. I wasn't there. I just know he hit 4. I mean, that's an obvious trivia question. I'm more involved in picking apart the game, looking at the batter style, looking how a pitcher works, how umpires call a ball aside, the things that you can't look up.
No question.
For all the other stuff, I've got an iPhone.
Popped up down the left field line. Jason Bay with plenty of room. And Nix retired. 2 up, 2 down in the Reds' 4th.
How about you? You pretty good at remembering all that kind of stuff?
Not really. Not at all. From time to time, I will remember a little nugget. I thought about it when Rod Barajas came to the plate earlier in the game. You look at these 2 guys right now, the catcher and the batter, Hannigan and Barajas. And you think about their 2 journeys and the unlikely journeys of reaching the major leagues. Both of them signed at tryout camps. Were not drafted. 63 rounds of a baseball draft. And neither one of these young men were selected by any team. And yet here they are in a major league game on this May the 4th, 2010, and both are in the starting lineups for their respective teams in the big leagues. That's quite a journey.
In a very important position.
Yep. 1-1 to Ryan Hannigan. Hannigan graduated from Andover High School in Andover, Massachusetts. Still lives in that city. He attended Rollins College, but the Reds signed him after a tryout camp. On August the 23rd, 2002, was signed by John Brickley. Rod Barajas was attending a community college in California and went to a tryout camp with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and they signed him. And he wound up making it to the major leagues with the team that signed him, like Hannigan. 3-1 to Ryan. Strike 2. So I guess at the end of the day, when we talk about some of these tryout camps the Reds are going to be holding later this summer, you never know.
You do never know.
Reyes Rojas a couple of steps to his left. Behind the bag will throw out Hannigan. And that's the first perfect inning of the night for John Maine. We go to the 5th in a 2-2 game. Lead, or actually tie the game, I beg your pardon. Tied it at 1 after the Mets had scored in the top of the first for Brandon, his 3rd home run of the year. Reds took a 2-1 lead in the 2nd. And then the Mets tied it on a David Wright home run in the 4th. So 8-9-1 in the Mets batting order against Bronson Arroyo here in the 5th. That means Rod Barajas, John Maine, and Angel Pagan. Barajas struck out swinging his first time up against Arroyo. Breaking ball fouled away, strike 1. Bronson with 2 strikeouts in the game. He's not walked about. Into right center field, Stubbs will run it down for out number 1. We invite you to visit the official online shop of the Cincinnati Reds at Reds.com. You can browse the largest selection of official gear anywhere. So get all your gear straight from the source. Shop the Reds.com official store. Boy, they've got great stuff in the Reds team shop.
They do.
Check it all out online. I love those hoodies, those sweatshirts they have.
Yeah.
Those are nice. They have them in red, have them in black.
I like the gray ones.
Yep. Fouled away by Maine. 1 ball and 1 strike. Maine at that ground ball his first time up. It ricocheted off Arroyo's glove and then went to Cabrera, who threw him out. This time he's gone on strikes. 3 of those tonight now for Arroyo, and the first 2 retired in the 5th of this 2-2 game. Pagan had the bunt single that went into shallow right field. Just floated over the head of Joey Votto and went for a bunt single. He had an idea about turning it into a double, but Brandon Phillips quickly got over there to track it down. Pagan went to third on a hit-and-run single by the next batter, Castillo, and scored on a base hit by Reyes. Pagan made a bid for a second base hit with a sharp grounder to the right of Votto. Made a nice play to throw him out in the third. 0-2 on the way. High pop-up. Foul ground over near the Mets dugout. And Hannigan with a nice play. Boy, is that something. Just before he went into the opening, which would lead down about 4 steps into the Mets dugout, like a wide receiver along the sideline. On this beautiful spring night in Cincinnati, the Reds come to bat home half of the 5th inning. Locked up in a 2-2 game. Pitcher against pitcher to start things. Main strike 1 to Bronson Arroyo. Well, we learned just a short while ago the very sad news about the passing of William Ernest Ernie Harwell. Legendary voice, Hall of Fame voice of the Detroit Tigers. Was born on January the 25th, 1918 in Washington, Georgia. And died in his adopted home state of Michigan. His brilliant career calling play-by-play of Major League Baseball for 55 years, 42 of them with the Tigers. In 2009, Harwell was ranked 16th on the list of the top 50 sportscasters of all time. And an even finer man than he was in announcers, Arroyo has gone on strikes. A man of great faith, great conviction. I mean, his broadcasting, to listen to him regularly, and a lot of people in these parts listen to Ernie Harwell because that station would blow in here at night. You could listen to him just about every night. But what a wonderful, warm, caring man. And he will be missed by so many millions of people that either used to love listening to him, watching him on television, or people that probably had no idea what he did for a living, that maybe bumped into him at a grocery store or getting a cup of coffee, or all the charitable endeavors that he was a part of. What a wonderful, wonderful man.
Well said, Tom.
Been sick for so long and actually has lived longer than most thought he would. And I've said it many, many times before about our late great friend Joe Nuxall. And certainly the same is true about Ernie Harwell, as I've got a piece of the home plate umpire Tim Welke. He appears to be all right. I'm not sure you could give another person a greater compliment, and in this case another man a greater compliment. Than to say when your son grows up, you would be proud if your son turned out to be like that person. I think the same holds true for Joe Nuxall, and unquestionably the same could be said for any parent to have a son that would grow up one day to be like Ernie Harwell. God rest his soul. One and two to Drew Stubb. And now the count of 2 balls, 2 strikes. John Maine working on a pretty good ball game here.
Yeah, he is, and as I'm watching his delivery, I'm beginning to figure out why he is so deceptive to the hitters, because he gets in the middle of that windup, he lifts his leg, and then watch him kind of dip his back leg really low and drive towards the plate, almost like a Tom Seaver type of a delivery, where he, the drop and drive, watch that knee right there as he gets real low and big long stride out there, and that puts him a little closer to first base or to home plate. And if you're closer to home plate, the hitter has less time to react, even if you're only throwing 88, 89, 90 miles an hour like he is tonight. Now, I also went back and looked up his numbers as far as being a ground ball pitcher versus a fly ball pitcher, and he's very much a fly ball pitcher. In fact, this year he's only thrown about 35% ground balls. That is a prolific fly ball pitcher. He's only had 2 ground ball outs tonight.
He gave up a prolific fly ball to Brandon Phillips back in the first inning.
So it might work for Maine very well in Citi Field. If you put him here in the dead of summer, that style of pitching may not be so successful. 7 games over 500 in his career.
One and one to Brandon, who had a home run off the fair pole down the left field line in the first inning, doubled off the wall in left center field his last time up. And Chris, I don't want to just drop a bombshell on you, but Brandon Phillips is a triple and a single away from hitting for the cycle tonight.
Well, if he does it, I'll remember it.
He's got a chance to do some damage here with a 3-1 count. He's already done damage against Maine tonight.
That'll be our trivia question tomorrow. Come on now, Brandon.
Hardy on a 3-1 fastball and lifts it down the right field line, and Maine with back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings. We're still tied at 2 at Great American Ballpark.
hit a home run. 37664 is where you 37664 and
well, I tell you what, if anything else except for D gets a vote, something's wrong.
You're right about that.
I mean, come on.
I mean, do you want the score to be 0-0 or 1-0?
I mean, come on. I mean, I love seeing a leadoff hitter that'll bunt for a hit, that'll draw a walk, that'll get on base. I mean, come on. After the bunt hit, after the line drive hit, and after the walk, you need somebody else to knock the guy in. Right?
Give me a homer.
I can't believe what I'm looking at here. I know some out there will say, well, you know, if he does one of the first three things, then maybe the next guy can hit a home run and make it 2-0. Well, that's true. But you know what? Let the number two hitter lead off the, you know, I mean, with a 1-0 lead start around.
Well, that number two hitter could also hit a ground ball at somebody and be a 5-4-3 double play.
Luis Castillo, meanwhile, leading things off here in the sixth. Man. I mean, that's one of those.
I thought that was a trick question when we put it up there.
There's nothing. There's ball 4 to Castillo, and that's not the way you want it to start. Although now, let's just pretend for a second that was the leadoff batter of the game. Do you like that? Or do you like a guy running around the bases with a 3-2 lead? And we got 52% of the people that want to see A, B, or C.
You know, when I didn't have anything to do with that question, but when I first saw it, I thought it was a trick question. Kind of like the trivia question. Could have been. Here's the answer to the trivia question.
All right, enough of that.
He's a double, triple, and homer away.
Yes, he is. Jose Reyes. He knocked in a run in the first inning with a single in the center field. Castillo doesn't run like he used to. But off he goes now on this rocket down the right field line. And the Mets have it cooking here in the sixth inning. Runners at second and third with nobody out in a 2-2 game.
Well, the more at-bats that Jose Reyes gets, the more he will get his timing and his rhythm down, and he's beginning to see the ball much better. He's hit the ball hard last night. Rifles that one right by Joey Votto for his second hit. He had a sharp one right back through the middle his first time up. And Bronson Arroyo in the first inning really pitched out of some trouble. And he's got to do the same thing here to make sure that he leaves this inning tied 2-2.
Well, the Reds conceding the run along the infield, at least at third, short, and second. Something hot smash maybe at Votto. Perhaps he comes to the plate. There's a check swing. They appeal, and Sam Holbrook said Jason Bay went around strike one. Two. Reyes bounced into a fielder's choice at Scott Rowland and flied out to right field. 0 for 2 in the game. High fly ball. Left center field. Stubbs makes a catch. Castillo will score. Throw goes into third. And a sac fly RBI gives the Mets a 3-2 lead here in the sixth inning.
You know, I think Bronson Arroyo wanted that last pitch just a little bit higher. Jason Bay happy with what he did. He's hit a couple of fly balls on the night. The only guy really to consistently get the ball up off of Arroyo. But you see Hannigan, he wants that around chin high, and it actually is about letter high, and Bay gets underneath it. But you get out of that jam, second and third, nobody out with only one run, you've done a pretty good job. He still has some work to do.
David Wright bounced into a double play, ending the first inning, and then hit a long home run to the second deck in left center field in the fourth. And for David Wright, his 6th home run and his 20th run batted in.
Good high ball hitter, short arms, very powerful, likes the ball waist and above. Now, the home run he hit was a tape measure job. Let's take a look exactly where it was in the strike zone. And that's about waist high.
Got a good rip at that pitch from Arroyo. Fastball in and fouls it back 1-1. When Arroyo's at second base, his double followed the leadoff walk. And then Bay knocks in Castillo to break this 2-2 tie. High fly ball into right center, playable for Jay Bruce. Reyes tagging. Here comes a throw by Bruce, and just a step late. Reyes at third base with 2 away in the inning. Well, he's got a gun out there in right.
You know, tonight in this ball game, it features a couple of right fielders with 2 of the better arms in all the National League, if not all the major leagues. And they both take great pride in it. Young players. Jay Bruce sets himself up and comes right over the top with a ball that doesn't tail a bit. A 2-hopper right on the money.
Now with the left-handed batting Ike Davis coming up. Thought for a moment that Ryan Hannigan standing through an extended period of time, perhaps they were going to walk Davis and take their chances with the right-handed batting Jeff Francoeur. But they will pitch to Davis with 2 outs, and there's ball 1 up and away. Those two got together again here last night with Leake on the mound and Davis playing first, and in the Mets lineup, teammates at Arizona State University, and in back-to-back years, first-round draft picks in the June amateur draft. Davis in 08 by the Mets and Leake last summer by the Reds.
Well, one thing this young man is going to learn when he's in the major leagues, he's only had about 20 games in, is that you're not going to get a 2-0 fastball, not with his kind of power. And that was a 2-0 changeup.
Two and 1 to Davis. And he comes back with a fastball at 2-1, and it's off the outside corner. So if you throw him a 2-0 change, Davis might be thinking now, I'm probably not going to see a 3-1 fastball. Arroyo ready. And it sails away. And that's a 2-out walk. Second of the inning for Bronson Arroyo.
It just appeared there that Arroyo was not going to give in to a left-hander Davis. You know what kind of trouble lefties give him. They see the ball better off. I'd much rather take his chances with Francoeur.
It's a big matter in this ball game right here and right now. Mets in the 6th inning have taken this 3-2 lead. They have runners on the corners with 2 away. Francoeur struck out and flied out to left. Roland finds the handle after initial juggle and is unable to make a throw to Francoeur. Reyes scores from third, and now it's a 2-run New York lead.
Boy, almost a tremendous play to get his pitcher out of the inning right here. The ball hit pretty sharply, stays down low right there, kind of spinning away from Roland, and just gets the back of his glove. And he's going to throw out nobody on that. By gloving that, he saved the double, probably another run.
Well, the Mets started with a leadoff walk to Luis Castillo in a 2-2 game. Still a very reasonable pitch count for Arroyo. It was exceptional coming into this 6th inning. And one more out to go to get out of it. New York with a 2-run lead, and here's Rod Barajas. A breaking ball is in there, strike. Struck out swinging in the 2nd inning and flied out to Drew Stubbs in center, leading off the 5th. Barajas' 7th man to bat in what has been a 2-run inning. And now Arroyo ahead of him at 1 ball and 2 strikes. And we'll do it again. You know, we asked the trivia question, or actually the text-full question, coming back to begin this inning about what you'd like to see the leadoff batter do, not just in a game, but in an inning. And we were sort of tongue-in-cheek, although certainly serious enough about it that you like to see the home run if you're rooting for that team. On the appeal, he did not go around. And we made the comment, hey, look, you'll take a line drive single, a bunt single, or a leadoff walk. Obviously, it has helped the Mets tremendously in this inning when Castillo walked to start it.
Well, you know, sometimes, and it's an old saying that, you know, a walk gives an energy of a big inning, and a home run sometimes can be a rally killer. Even though you get 1 run, sometimes that's all they get.
Breaking ball popped up behind the second base bag. Cabrera way out there to get it, and that'll retire the side. 7 back, 2 runs, 2 hits, 2 walks, 2 left, and a 2-run Mets lead. Coors Light.
Well, those pitches very similar in the strike zone as to the location-wise, and that young man's got some kind of tremendous power.
Well, the Reds need to figure out what's going on here with John Maine. I mean, this guy, I'm not going to call it dominating because he's not dominating. He only has, well, I guess 5 strikeouts is actually a pretty doggone good number at the end of 5 innings. Sure. He got 2 in the first, he got 1 in the second, 1 in the third, and then 1 more in the 5th. But, you know, all of a sudden he's retired 7 in a row, 8 of the last 9. And really not very many hard-hit balls outside of Brandon Phillips' home run in the first inning, and Brandon Phillips doubled to left center in the third. The Reds have just 3 hits against Maine. The last coming by Ryan Hannigan in the second inning.
A lot of comfortable offers.
One ball and 1 strike to Joey Votto, who struck out and flied out to left.
I mean, he's not even playing around with off-speed pitches, breaking balls, or anything. I mean, it's just one fastball after another.
We're not talking about a fastball to 93, 94, 95 miles an hour. I mean, he's been anywhere from 88 to 91 miles per hour the entire game. Infrequently on the higher side of that range.
Yeah, but again, Tom, you go back to, it's not necessarily what the radar gun shows. It's what the hitter sees. And with John Maine, he's obviously sneaky fast because, he's not only throwing it by, Joey Votto, he's also throwing it by Bruce and Roland and really everybody but Brandon Phillips. It looks like when he gets down, he drives with his right leg. He gets his knee kind of close to the ground, gets a nice long stride. He works underneath the ball a little bit, and the ball kind of takes off on you. But it just doesn't sink as much as your eye would think it would.
That one pulled through the hole in the right field, a base hit by Votto. So there's the first hit since the Hannigan singled. So right back in the second inning, and the tying run will come to the plate.
Well, you can credit that to perseverance by Joey Votto. He fouled off a couple of tough pitches and finally got his bat around on one that he liked. One of the very few times the Reds hitter has put the ball on the ground.
Hisanori Takahashi is getting loose in the New York Mets bullpen. We did not see him in the game last night. And now Rob Barajas instructed perhaps by the New York bench to go out there and visit with Maine. Jerry Manuel talking things over down there with Dan Worth and his pitching coach.
Well, you're only looking at 92 pitches, so it's not a matter of fatigue. It's a matter of maybe the perception of Jerry Manuel, Dan Worthen, that, once you go through the order 2 or 3 times against Maine, then maybe it's time to switch something up. It appears to me like he's still throwing the ball pretty well. That was just a ground ball that found a hole.
And actually, I beg your pardon, the last Reds hit prior to that Votto single was actually the one-out double an inning after Hannigan's hit by Brandon Phillips. So the Reds went hitless in both the 4th and 5th innings and get the hit by Votto to open the 6th. And now Worthen will come out to the mound. And really, you look at Maine this year, and I mean, he has basically been, when he's thrown the ball well, he has basically been a 5+ innings pitcher. That's what he is. After all these arm problems, trips to the disabled list with shoulder fatigue, surgery to the right shoulder. I mean, 93 pitches for a lot of guys. Bronson Arroyo is an example, not a big deal. Perhaps for a guy like Maine, It could be a very big deal.
Well, he threw 101 pitches in his last start. He threw 115 pitches in 5 innings against the Cardinals, and somehow only gave up 3 runs in that ball game, but he walks 4. So his pitch count, I mean, in fact, the first game of the year that he pitched, he threw 92, which is right about where he is now.
2-0 strike on the outer edge.
And you can see why he would pitch a game in which he throws a lot of pitches, because he misses the bat. I mean, there's a lot of swings and misses.
Well, coming into the game, he has struck out better than a batter per inning. And his matchup number tonight, rolling with a fly ball into right center field. Who wants it? Pagan calls off Francoeur. It's a first out in the inning, and Votto back to the bag. Jay Bruce coming up.
There are 2 traditions Cincinnati fans have grown to love for generations: Reds baseball and JTM beef hoagies. Grab a bag today and taste the tradition. JTM, food, family, fun.
Well, here's Jay Bruce. He walked and scored back in the second inning, and then struck out swinging, stranding 2, ending the third. Fastball just outside. Ball 1 to Jay Bruce. Jay 4 home runs and 11 runs knocked in. Joey Votto stole those 4 bases very early in the season. I mean, we're still early in the season. But it's been pretty much a pattern, and it is for really a lot of teams, a lot of managers, that when you fall behind early in a game, a lot of teams tend to shut down the running game. And the Reds are only down 2, and we have a long way to go. Votto got his 4th steal of the year back on the 20th of April. So it's better than 2 weeks since Votto not only has stolen a base, but has attempted a stolen base. The Reds as a team so far this year in the running game have 21 of them, and they have been thrown out 9 times. Two and two the count on Bruce, and throws a fastball right by him again.
Now, 2 times in a row that Maine just simply went with a good old-fashioned country hardball, and he throws it right by Jay Bruce. And Bruce swings underneath it. I think that's what most of these Reds hitters are doing. His ball just doesn't sink very much.
So here's Orlando Cabrera. He swings at the first pitch and lifts a fly ball into right. So after a leadoff single by Votto, very quiet from Roland, Bruce, and Cabrera. We go to the 7th, where the Mets lead it 4-2. for the New York Mets. Reds 2 runs, just 4 hits, and they've left 4. The night is over for John Maine. So he gives up runs in each of the first 2 innings, an unearned run in that second inning, but a run nonetheless. And those would be the only 2 runs in which Maine allows the Reds to score all night. Gary Matthews Jr. batting for John Maine. First pitch swing, a roller back to Bronson Arroyo, and that was easy. Maine pitched a good ball game here tonight.
Well, it can't get any worse for the Reds than whoever they go to. I mean, he pitched a whale of a ball game. He struck out 9 Dodgers in his last stint. Struck out 6 Reds tonight. Effortlessly putting the Reds offense down. So good riddance.
Angel Pagan fouls it off out of play. Arroyo's gone 6 1/3, allowed the 7 hits, the 4 runs, all earned. Gave up a run in the first, a game-tying home run to David Wright in the 4th. And then allowed 2 runs, 2 hits, walked 2 batters, including the leadoff man, to break the 2-2 tie in the Mets' 6th. Again, a reminder, the Reds and Mets wrap it up tomorrow. 12:35 will be the first pitch. No television tomorrow. A radio-only game. That one popped up to Joey Votto, and that's out number 2 here in the New York 7th inning. Cowboy and I will be handling things over on the radio side, so we invite you to join us. And Chris, you will enjoy back-to-back days off before rolling back in with me here on Friday night with the Cubbies rolling in.
I need 2 days off.
You do. You've worked very hard.
I'll come up with
You look a little tired.
I'll come up with a pretty good text poll for Friday.
It's all on you for Friday night.
I was thinking about I was thinking about building on the one we had tonight. What would you rather see out of a leadoff hitter? A bunt, line drive base hit, a walk, or a home run? What do you think about what would you rather see? The Reds win or the Reds lose? John, I suspect those people who did not vote for the home run would probably like to see the Reds lose. That's the only reason that they would vote that way.
Well, we didn't ask. Do you want to see a Reds leadoff batter? Start an inning with a walk or a hit. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? Yeah, that's a good point, because I would rather see the opposing leadoff batter bunt for a base hit, I guess.
Or walk. Anything.
Yeah. Maybe we should qualify that.
2-1 to Castillo. And for those who voted walk, he said, hey, look at what Castillo did the last half inning. And you know what? He walked and scored.
On second thought, I'm not coming up with the question after all.
So Arroyo's final inning, perhaps a good one. He still trails by
by King's Honda in the King's Auto Mall. Visit King'sHondaUSA.com.
All right, Chris, now to the New York bullpen. You know, we talked so much about the Reds bullpen and how good they were last night. I mean, this Mets bullpen was very, very good until that bottom half of the 11th inning. And one guy very impressive right here takes over on the mound, Henry Mejia.
Well, he was very impressive last night, Mejia was, and talking to some of the Mets people today, they think that somewhere down the road, and it may not be the too distant future, he will be the closer for this ball club. That's the kind of stuff he has. That's the kind of makeup they think that this young man has, and he's been dazzling not only the Reds last night, but really the rest of the National League. Comes into this ball game with a 1.5 earned run average.
Talked about Mejia last night, only 20 years old, and bear in mind he didn't turn 20 until the end of last October. So young Mr. Mejia, the youngest New York Met, as a pitcher to make an opening day roster since the great Doc Gooden back in 1984. And it's 1-1 on Lance Nix.
What they like about Mejia is that his fastball has a natural cut, which might remind you of another reliever who is in New York, who is known for a natural cutter.
Been pretty good for a while.
One Mariano Rivera.
Indeed. A ball and a strike to Nix. He'll be followed by Hannigan, and then a pinch hitter for Bronson Arroyo. The ball popped up over near the Reds dugout, and Ike Davis has room leaning up against the railing. One away. Well, Great American Ballpark is always the spot to kick off your weekends. Don't miss the first Fireworks Friday of the year. That'll be May the 14th, presented by PNC. And, man, the fireworks are spectacular. That'll be after the Reds and the Cardinals. And for tickets, call 513-381-REDS or go to Reds.com. Tickets available tomorrow as well. And a 3-game series over the weekend against the Cubs. Weather tomorrow is supposed to be another perfect day. Sunshine. Temperature right at 80 degrees.
Perfect for cutting some grass, huh?
Oh, yeah. Ball one down low to Ryan Hannigan.
Now, our grass giveaway that we had nurtured by our interns, Will Toman and Danny Steele while we're gone. That baby's growing pretty good, huh?
They've done a great job. Now they have to keep it going so we can talk to Doug and have that planted, you know, somewhere where it's not going to, you know, stand out or anything like that, but somewhere where it can be part of the playing surface here at Great American Ballpark.
I don't know. You think we ought to take some scissors and manicure that baby down a little bit?
We'll let Doug do that. I mean, you know, once we just get it in the ground, then, you know, Doug and the rest of the grounds crew can handle, you know, getting it where they want it. But they did a beautiful job.
They did. They said every day. They brought it out of the shade, put it right here on the ledge, gave it a little bit of water. And hey, water it and give it some sun. Those are the instructions you gave them on the way out the door.
And a little bit of TLC.
Always.
2-2 now to Hannigan.
So they did a good job.
Job well done,
They're in the booth next to us over there.
Yeah, they're in the booth next door, over in the official scorer's booth. And they did a good job. And Rob Butcher keeps them very, very busy.
Well, they take care of us every day, make sure we have all the right paperwork, the background material, lineups, statistics.
2-2 the count on Ryan Hannigan. Reds looking for something, anything to get going, trailing by 2 here in the home half of the 7th inning. Two-two pitch. Fouled away. You know, if you're a young person, and we've had men and women both that have been interns for Rob Butcher, the director of media relations for the Cincinnati Reds, and they have a wall of all the interns that have come through here in the office right behind our booth of where these guys work all day long. And, you know, all the jobs that people who interned under Rob have gone on to get. I mean, just in the last couple of years alone. We have an intern that is now working for the Chicago Cubs full-time. An intern who just got hired by the Atlanta Braves. I mean, you get an intern, and I know there was something in the news the other day about internships and getting rid of internships. I didn't even read it, but, man, I can't imagine anything more ridiculous than that idea. Anybody who's ever had one, whether you got paid or not. Here's a slow roller to short. And Reyes will throw out Hannigan, whose bat is littered all over the infield. And there are 2 gone here in the Reds' 7th inning. But at any rate, those 2 young men are very lucky to have the internship under Rob Butcher.
Well, you're absolutely right. I'm sure that there are hundreds, maybe not hundreds, but at least dozens of young people that want to be interns at Cincinnati Reds. I know I get inquiries all the time.
Yep.
How can I become an intern with the Reds? You know, I'm graduating from college, or I'm finishing up my 3rd year of school. I'm in sports management. I'm in communications. There they are in the background up here. Yep. There's Will and Danny.
I mean, anybody who would be against internships is somebody who clearly never had to go out and take an internship, because that's just out of touch.
Yeah.
I mean, man.
Now, it's not an easy job either, because they get here in the morning, work all day long, and on home games they stay around to work the evening games. So they may come here at 9 o'clock in the morning and not get home till 11 or 12 at night. Such is the life of a baseball intern.
But it's getting their foot in that door, man. And that's the bottom line. We go Cairo. Up there to bat, and lines one into right, but Francoeur is there in a 1-2-3 7th inning for Mejia. So the Mets come to bat in the 8th, still in front 4-2. Where the steps were, and made the play. Well done, Ryan Hannigan. So the Reds are going to go to their bullpen. Bronson Arroyo, 7 innings tonight, allows 4 runs. 7 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and on the pitch already for the 4th time since being brought up is right-hander Carlos Fisher.
Now, this is no mop-up job for Fisher now. This is one of these games in which this team is still in it, and he really needs to put a 0 on the board right here.
Couple of tight games between these 2 teams. The first 2 games of this 3-game series. Reds will see a young man they have never seen in the game tomorrow. John Maine has never beaten the Reds in his career, but he's in line, at least for the time being, to get career win number 1 against Cincinnati. Jonathan Neese, a left-hander, who's off to a very good start. In fact, he's been the best starter in the Mets rotation so far this year. We'll go against right-hander Johnny Cueto tomorrow. That didn't take long. 3 pitches to Fan Reyes. 1 gone in the Mets 8. The Reds relievers have done a good job in terms of striking out the opposition. That we know, presented by Honda.
Well, they're third in the league in that category. You see the strikeouts among relief corps in the National League, San Diego, Florida, and then the Reds. The Reds are also third in the National League in holds, which is the statistic of keeping your team in the game right before you turn over to your closer. So, again, like it was last year, another strong part of this Reds ball club is their bullpen.
Jason Bay broke the 2-2 tie with a sac fly to center field, scoring Luis Castillo in that 2-run Mets sixth inning. Back-to-back strikeouts for Fisher. And they're 2 away here in the Mets eighth. Well, don't forget this Friday night, celebrate Ladies' Night with the Reds. The first 10,000 ladies in attendance receive a free Reds tote bag courtesy of Dove Chocolate. You can start out in the fan zone, wine tasting, lots of contests, a chocolate dipping station. Lots going on. Ladies' Night. Need we say more? For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com. So if it's Ladies' Night, naturally, for some of the single men out there, it may not be a bad night to come down as well. David Wright, 1 of 3, had a home run to tie the game at 2 in the 4th inning. Hit that thing about 5 rows up into the second deck in the deepest part of left center field. Way up there by those Kroger signs. Check swing, and they appeal up to first. Sam Holbrook said David Wright was able to hold up on the swing. 2 balls and a strike to Wright.
Hasn't been one yet that they've called for a swing, has there? All night long.
Can't remember one.
Ken Griffey Jr. used to tell me the reason he'd use a black bat at the plate was it would make it hard for the umpire, for his case, at third base, to see if he went or not. David Wright's wielding a black one.
Fouled away on a 3-1 fastball. The count is run full on Wright with 2 down and nobody on. If you're looking to the Reds' bottom of the 8th inning, they'll have a top of the order coming up. Bruce Stubbs, Brandon Phillips, and Joey Votto. 3-2 now to David Wright. Struck him out, and how about Carlos Fisher? Fans the side, the heart of the order. We'll see if the Reds can take some of that momentum, trailing by 2 in the 8th. Phillips. A home run in the first inning. Number 3 on the year. And in the third, played Pepper with a left center field wall for a 2-base hit. So Phillips 2 out of 3, a couple of extra base hits in the game, and he'll bat second here in the Reds' 8th inning. Taking over on the mound for the Mets following Maine, who went the front 6. Mejia pitched a 1-2-3-7. Is Fernando Nieve. We saw him in a game last night, a one-time starter in the Astros organization, who, after coming all the way back from injury, apparently has found a home in the New York Mets bullpen.
Well, he pitched 2 innings last night, but he had very easy work of it.
First pitch swinging is Drew Stubbs. And just like that, 1 out. Stubbs 4 fly balls in the game. We talked about Brandon with a home run and a double in 3 at-bats. Reds down to their final 5 outs of the night and have a total of 4 hits in the game. And 3 of the 4 came in each of the first 3 innings. Home run by Phillips in the first, single by Hannigan in the second, and a double by Brandon in the third. The only hit thereafter, spanning now 4 1/3 frames, was a leadoff single by Joey Votto in the 6th. He'll handle it himself, and easily retiring the first 2 batters here in the Reds' 8th is Nieve. Cubs are coming into town Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the Windy City Rivals in a series against the Reds is presented by Cincinnati Bell. We invite you to wear red in support of the home team and get tickets now at 381 Reds or visit Reds.com. And again, Saturday night, first night game on a Saturday the Reds have played at home this year. So 7:10 Friday, 7:10 Saturday, and 1:10 Sunday is Mother's Day, Mom Appreciation Day. That ball smoked by Votto into left center field, and it's a 1-run game. Votto in Scott Rowland fashion, sprinting around those bases after that home run. And now it's a 4-3 contest.
Well, he's had base hits in his last couple of times up, and he's swinging at that first pitch and lining it right on out of here. A 95-mile-an-hour fastball that gets turned around just like that. Didn't know if it was going to be long enough, but just barely over the yellow marker onto the grass berm. And Votto makes it a 1-run game.
Joey 5 home runs, now 15 knocked in, and here's Rowland. But it's only down a run here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
It's the first hit that the Reds have had off Nieve. He pitched 2 innings of perfect baseball last night and retired the first 2 in this inning.
And now some of the smoke from the fireworks following the Votto home run as Scott Rowland momentarily asking for timeout. And now he's back in there. Breaking ball from Nieve, misses away. 1-1 to Rowland. Well, we know what the Reds have done 8 times in their 13 victories so far this year, and that's win in their final at bat, including the series opener here last night. That ball in the air, deep right center field. Pagan at the wall, and it is gone. A home run by Rowland. It is a home run, which has tied the game at 4 here in the bottom of the 8th.
Pitch with a slider. I imagine that Roland was thinking about getting a fastball right there, and he did. It was on the outer part of the plate. He went the other way with it. Pagan, the center fielder, makes a nice effort right there. But that was out off the hands of a fan after it crossed the home run fence. And we are tied at 4.
I think Jerry Manuel is going to ask the umpire, Bill Welke, if that may have been fan interference. I think it's pretty evident that's nowhere close to being interference. That ball had clearly sailed well over the wall out there in right center field. The fan was not reaching into the field of play.
Watch this guy right here. And watch where his hands are. That's well over the fence. Now, there would be fan interference if he were reaching over the fence.
There's a better angle here.
That is a better angle. He never really does cross the plane of that yellow line.
And they're going to go in and take a look at this on replay. This is a reviewable call by the umpires.
Well, if that fan had better hands and would have simply caught the ball.
Well, even then, you would still say a guy leaned out into the field of play.
That's true. It would have been more definitive, though, that it was over the fence.
Yeah.
I think they're going to let this stand.
But Jerry Manuel, I mean, you can't officially ask them to go in and review a call. An umpire, he is not under any kind of instruction to hear that demand and acquiesce when a manager comes out. But certainly, in this kind of case, they're going to take a look. As a game-tying home run. It's a big call. I thought it looked pretty evident the guy's hands, at the very minimum, were directly over the wall. And that's at the very minimum. You agree?
Well, I mean, do they take into consideration what would the ball have done if the fan hadn't touched it? If that's the case, I think you have to rule it's a home run. I mean, what does Jerry Manuel have to lose by at least asking him to go out and talk about it? If there's enough indecision amongst the 3 or 4 umpires that are involved, then you send 3 of them down to review the television replay.
It is a home run. I mean, wasting no time. Coming out was Tim Welke. So the home run by Roland stands. It's the first time all year long the Reds have gone back-to-back, and what a time to do it.
And Jerry Manuel will not waste the trip to the mound. He's going to come out and make a pitching change while he's out there.
He's going to bring in, I would assume, a left-hander to face Jay Bruce, and he has Jay Bruce bats following back-to-back home runs from Votto and Rolen against the new Mets pitcher, left-hander Pedro Feliciano. A 4-4 game. And there's a bouncer back up through the middle. Castillo's got it and throws out Bruce. And that'll end the inning. But fireworks a couple of times. Home run by Votto to make it a 1-run game. And then a home run by Reds go to their bullpen. Second straight night they'll bring on Francisco Cordero in a tie game. Cordero 2.51 ERA in 15 outings spanning 14 1/3 innings.
Well, that inning by Carlos Fisher, you can't overlook that.
No.
He comes in and punches out the side and throws a 0 on the board and gives the Reds a chance to come back into it, and they did.
Cordero, a scoreless ninth inning last night, allowed a hit to David Wright. He faces Ike Davis. First pitch swinging, a broken bat liner to left field, and one pitch, one out for Cordero.
Yeah, I don't think Ike Davis wanted to get down in the count to Cordero like he did last night. Cordero eventually struck him out on a couple of fastballs away. He was up there hacking early.
So now his starter figures in the decision, obviously. Tied at 4 here in the ninth inning. Arroyo is on the hook for the loss. Maine in line for the win. But after Nieve serves up the back-to-back home runs to Votto and Rolen, we're even in the ninth with one out. Here's Jeff Francoeur. Francoeur faced Cordero last night, ending the ninth inning with a fly ball to left. Swing and a miss. Bottom fell out of that pitch from Coco. High pop up into foul territory, and this one will drift out of play. The Phillies and Cardinals in game 2 of their series were scoreless going to the ninth inning. Cardinals got a run at the top of the ninth. Philly has tied it and still batting in the bottom of the ninth. It's 1-1. The only final in the National League, the Pirates, in the opening game of their home series against the Cubs, down Chicago 3-2. 95-mile-per-hour fastball thrown right by Francoeur, 2 gone.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily how fast that fastball is, it's where it is. Just outside the zone right there for Jeff Francoeur, and he's such an aggressive hitter. He'll chase that pitch.
Well, you really got to wonder how much the Reds bullpen might have down in that tank tonight, Chris. They were very busy during that entire 3-game series in St. Louis after the lengthy rain delay. Johnny Cueto had to be relieved after better than a 2.5-hour delay. And here's a long one into left center field by Barajas to give the Mets a lead. Well, Rod Barajas, who hit 3 home runs over the weekend against Philadelphia, clubs his 7th of the year. And the Mets lead in the 9th inning. It's 5-4.
Well, the location of this one, not where it was against Jeff Francoeur. You wanted it away. You see Ryan Hannigan. Look at the reaction from Francisco Cordero. As soon as the ball was thrown, he's probably thinking, come back. Barajas drops the head. 5 home runs in this ballgame.
Frank Catalanotto now up there to bat for Feliciano. So we'll see Francisco Rodriguez for the first time in this series in the bottom of the 9th inning. He's the Mets closer. Ground ball to Brandon Phillips. The damage done as Cordero gives up the 2-out home run to Barajas, which gives the Mets a 5-4 lead. Reds will have Cabrera, Nix, Hannigan, and hopefully more coming up.
Good numbers so far this year as well. You see the batting average against, the earned run average way down there below 1, 0.77. In fact, he's given up 1 run in 11 games. And he's kept the ball in the ballpark.
Gives you an idea about how few tight games the Mets have played this year. Frankie Rodriguez with only 4 save chances the entire season. And his last save came 10 days ago on the 24th of this month.
K-Rod because he'll strike a lot out, but he'll also walk a lot. In the 11 2/3 innings he has pitched, he has walked 7. So you give him a chance to be wild, he might help you out.
Well, if he's getting that last call for a strike, you're in a world of trouble. Of course, Rodriguez and Orlando Cabrera teammates for the Angels. There's a foul ball straight back. Rodriguez signing a big free agent deal, leaving the Angels, pardon me, Chris, to come to the Mets.
Not only teammates, but also countrymen, both of them from Venezuela.
One and 2 on Orlando Cabrera, leading off the Reds' bottom of the 9th inning. Reyes throws in time, 1 away.
Well, he took an extra step, Jose Reyes, at that time, but boy, he's got the kind of arm from shortstop that he can do that and gun it right across the infield. The ball in the hole, he moves his feet to get to it, but as he feels it, you see he takes an extra step while he gets a good grip on the baseball. Mike Davis looking pretty smooth over at first base.
1 away, and there's Lance Nix, the hero last night. Can he come through again this time? Ryan Hannigan waits in the on-deck circle. Reds are down a run. They were down 2 coming to bat in the 8th inning, and with 2 outs and nobody on, got back-to-back home runs from Joey Votto and Scott Rowland to tie it. But then Rod Barajas plays a long ball against Cordero in the 9th. And the Mets have a 1-run lead. 1-1 account on Lance Nix. Played perfectly. 9 times out of 10, it's a base hit into center field. Instead, it's a ground ball to Reyes, and the Reds are down to their final out.
Well, Reyes has got great range anyway. He snugged a little towards second base, but you see that ball takes a little too much time, and Reyes, very fleet of foot, gets over there and fields that ball almost like it was hit right at him.
Well, the Reds perhaps down to their final out of the night. And here is Ryan Hannigan. Ryan, 1 of 3, singled back in the 2nd inning, and has twice since grounded out to Reyes at short. When you look back over the last 6 years, Francisco Rodriguez, 232 saves. By far the most in all of Major League Baseball. And now he's ahead of Ryan Hannigan at 0-2. Not only does Rodriguez have just 4 save opportunities, all 3 of his saves came in 3 straight games. He didn't get his first save of the year until April the 22nd. And he proceeded to close out that night and the next 2 nights and has not had one since. But now a strike away from picking up his 4th save in 5 chances, and Hannigan trying to not let that happen. 2-2. Johnny Gomes stands in the on-deck circle. The Reds went into the game tonight without a single left-handed batter on their bench.
pitch for Rodriguez right there. He normally is a two-pitch pitcher, fastball, curveball. He dropped the changeup in him on that time. Tried to backdoor him, a little comeback action.
Reds fans trying to get behind Ryan Hannigan here. And a 3-2 count. Reds down a run, last of the ninth inning. Frank Core there, and the game is over. So after the Reds get back-to-back home runs in the eighth to tie it, Rod Barajas hits a two-out solo home run off Francisco Cordero, giving the Mets a 5-4 victory here tonight, evening this series at a game apiece, and we'll have the rubber game. Again, no television tomorrow, radio only. 12:35 first pitch, and tickets are available. We'll have Johnny Cueto on the mound against left-hander Jonathan Neese of the Mets. Tough one to lose.
Well, still a nice way to come back, though, and Reds showed something. When you get back-to-back home runs from the middle of the lineup like Joey Votto and Scott Rowland to put them right back into a tie ball game going into the ninth inning, this team's got a lot of fight. There's no question about it. They were bested tonight by the Mets. 5 home runs hitting the ball game overall, 3 of them by the Reds, but